What is up, you butts? My name is Willie, and if you guys are one of the 3 people who watches these videos, then you know that recently I asked you guys to help me figure out what my next video should be. And the results are in, and you guys said you wanted me to talk about fictional characters as though they were real people, which was surprising. I really thought you guys were gonna pick the dildo one. I did a lot of thinking about what fictional characters I would talk about and how I would make them into real life, and obviously I chose Pokemon because as a 37-year-old male, they were very important in my childhood development. Since it's all anyone can talk about these days, except maybe like the Emmys race, go Handmaid's Tale, I decided I would bring politics into the mix as well, and that's how I got my topic of 10 Pokemon who I believe are probably Trump supporters. Sorry everybody, but I'm not gonna spare anyone's feelings on this one. I don't care whose toes I step on. That's a lie. I do care, very much so, but I don't know, if you're offended by this video, you're probably offended by a lot of things, and you should probably learn how to not be offended by stuff like this that doesn't matter. Also, if you're offended by this video, I would bet you probably are anti people getting offended based on who I know from the internet. So if you are offended by this video, maybe look inward next time you rail against PC culture. Oh god, am I still talking? I should probably start the video. Up first, we have Meowth, who might come as a little surprise to some of you because based on his accent, he seems like he'd be like a New Yorker liberal, but he also is really into money, and he literally fights by throwing money, so he needs a lot of money, which makes me think that he's probably very fiscally conservative. So even though he's probably socially liberal, I bet that since he wanted to keep all of his money, he voted for Trump. Speaking of fiscal conservatives, I would add Pikachu to this list because Pikachu is clearly the celebrity of the Pokemon world. He is so rich now from being one of the most recognizable characters of all time that he definitely started out as a liberal, but as his star rose, he got more and more money and was Pikachu, which means I need to hoard this and invest it properly, and I really hope that I'm not taxed at a higher bracket. So that's why I say Pikachu is a Trump supporter now. The third Pokemon on our list is Wartortle, who if you look at him compared to a Squirtle, he's just a very fancy boy. And he seems Wartortle strikes me as one of those Milo Yiannopoulos type Trump supporters who are all about the spectacle. Wartortle's a gay man who fights against his own interests because he personally can benefit from saying a lot of very bombastic things to get attention. So he might not really believe what he's saying, but I do believe that at least publicly Wartortle supports Trump. Up next is the evolution of Wartortle, Blastoise, who I would have to imagine is a very staunch believer in the Second Amendment. So that's probably why he supports Trump. And this is one where I don't even fault him, because the guns are built into his back, so he really doesn't have a choice but to want to be able to carry guns. Like, if they were trying to ban hands because there was like a strangling epidemic, I would probably understand why people wanted a hand ban, but I personally, as an owner of hands, would probably want to look after my best interests and keep my hands legal. So that's probably why I believe Blastoise understandably voted for Trump, because he was scared of the overturning of the Second Amendment. There's a very complicated issue for this section. It's also kind of the plot of like the first X-Men movie. The next Pokemon I believe would be a Trump supporter is Aerodactyl, for obvious reasons. Like, he's literally a fossil. Like a lot of conservatives, like he probably is all like, make Kanto great again, but in his mind, Kanto's greatness was like millions of years ago, and it was probably like a bunch of just Kabutopses just slashing everyone. But he has nostalgia glasses, which make him think like, oh, this new time I'm in is bad. Hopefully we can return to the old time. Even though the old time was probably a lot worse if you look at how things actually are. Number 6 on my list. Is it 6? The next Pokemon on our list of Trump supporting Pokemon is Farfetched, because Farfetch'd to me seems like very angry and also not very powerful, which unfortunately is how I would describe a lot of Trump supporters. Like, Farfetch'd just has that leak, like, looking for a fight, and like, I think he probably could see Donald Trump as like the trainer who will help him out and like finally like be able to fight good. Also, I'm not gonna lie, with the little leak in his hand, Farfetch'd does look like he would fit in really good in one of those racist tiki torch rallies for Trump. It would be sad, but kind of funny because it's like a duck with a unibrow. Up next on the list is Shuckle, who I don't really have a reason to suspect Shuckle is a Trump supporter, but I think a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect are Trump supporters, and like, there's something I don't trust about him. Number on the list is Porygon, who I think is a Trump supporter because Porygon's kind of like the embodiment of the internet, and so I feel like maybe not all of Porygon is a Trump supporter, but I feel like there's a lot of things in Porygon that would support Trump, because he's probably been hacked a little bit by Russian intelligencies. Or I guess they don't have Russia, by like Kalos intelligences. Took me a second, but I got there. That was a really stupid section of this list. Up next on the list is coughing, and this one seems very obvious because coughing is like a pollution monster, So he probably would be very against environmental regulations, because he probably, like, to him, a bad, arid wasteland of an Earth is probably like a paradise for him. So he's probably like, yes, no, don't fight global warming, let the coughings inherit the Earth. It's our time to shine. And finally, we have our 10th Pokemon who would be a Trump supporter, and that's Kingler. And I actually don't have any reasons for this one either. I just could only come up with 9 for my list, and then I decided to pick Kingler as the 10th because Kingler's my favorite Pokemon, and I feel like he needs to get recognition more. And calling him a Trump supporter might not be like the best recognition I could give him, but I just wanted to talk about. I just wanted to like show a picture of Kingler because Kingler's really cool. One of his hands is bigger than the other. I think it's really fun. Alright, so that's my list, and that's the first of the you guys voted on videos. This was not a one-time thing though, so if you guys want to see me do something else that's not as mind-numbingly dumb as what I just did, then head over to my community page where you'll find a thing that says what should my next video be, and you guys can put your comments. I'll put the top ones up to a vote, and then I'll see you here next week to figure out what one we did. Why can't I talk? I don't have a future in this, but in the time being, it's very fun. So, please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll be honest, I'm actually losing a lot of subscribers from these videos, so I'd like that to stop. Anyway, see you later, guys.